Destiny 2, The Edge of Fate released to an overwhelmingly negative response. Reasons varied, but many players preferred the previous iteration. Among the various complaints, I saw a growing number of players find joy in Destiny 1, something that might sound strange until you remember Age of Triumph left the experience in arguably its best state. While I won't say Destiny 2, Monument of Triumph, is the de facto best state, I will say it accomplished something similar. It essentially protected its legacy. To me, Destiny 1 will always be the precursor to most problems present in Destiny 2. I remember spending hours shooting a cave to get purple drops that decoded into blues. The video of this, which was included in my original Destiny 1 review, showed me complaining about irrelevant gear as I unknowingly held the best weapon, since it was made before Gjallarhorn was considered good. Another notable video was my flawless run of Vaulted Glass. This was made before the Dark Below release, during the period when Bungie broke Aphion's teleport. I remember the dislike for Queen's Wrath, the first version of Sunsetting and the Dark Below. How awful Skolas was during House of Wolves, all the things the Taken King took from the game. But almost all of these thoughts were a snapshot of a specific period of time, one that hasn't held true in years. For many, Age of Triumph is the default. This is what the game has always and will always be about. Something that makes sense, since Age of Triumph was around longer than all my previous memories combined.
Yes, or
I expect something similar to happen with Monument of Triumph. Players might not forget the Destiny content vault, nor should they, but a lot of bad experiences will be overwritten by the sheer number of things to do. For the first time, and honestly a long time, there is a reason to play older raids. Weapons were given tiers with the ability to transfer crafted versions, armor gained set perks along with modern stat arrangements. Perhaps the biggest was giving every weapon a catalyst to chase, a choice that breathed new life into a multitude of beloved weapons. Third, by the ability to select older artifacts, I can select one that benefits linears, rockets, snipers, grenade launchers, and so much more. In addition to the chase, the flexibility gives players plenty of builds to explore. Even small things like snipers or linears on the Witness is going to increase the enjoyment of many. Some underplayed content, such as VOW, went from having less than 1,000 weekly clears to over 10,000 on the first week. Pantheon also works as a final hurrah. It marks the return of 4 of the 5 missing final boss encounters. Sadly, Spire of Stars' Val encounter was the one left in the vault. Existing fights were merged with non-boss encounters. On paper it doesn't sound like a big change, yet in practice they require completely different strategies. It was a small choice that highlights what made raiding great. It wasn't the esoteric nonsense, it was working as a team to overcome seemingly impossible tasks. Consecrated Mind, which is widely considered the worst Pantheon encounter, highlights this perfectly. Well, length aside. Nothing about this encounter is hard. Trash mobs are easy to stop, most bigger threats can be blasted in a single shot, and even the eyes being a mechanic of little concern. Success comes down to approach and understanding, knowing that enemies come in waves of 2, getting a feel for the approximate amount of time it takes to clear a side. Once it all comes together, it is an incredibly manageable encounter, where the biggest factor is luck over fear of being overwhelmed. Even those with no interest in raiding were given a variety of new things to chase. Revamped drops, new armor archetypes, additional set perks, and yes, more catalysts to chase, all with the knowledge these things won't be power crept or removed in the future. It is such a small thing that, to many, feels liberating, knowing that you can spend the week playing SRL without missing out on something. I also love how almost every cosmetic is obtainable. The path might not be short, but with enough time I can get whatever I want. Or I can simply focus on new challenges, many of these centered less on esoteric nonsense and more encouraging players to experience everything Destiny 2 has to offer one last time. All with a plethora of new cosmetics to unlock, several of which require overcoming a challenge. A lot of this also culminates in the final secret mission. I've seen some people describe it as the best to do, something that I don't think is too surprising. Not because it is a truly other level experience, but rather it feels like it was a repurposed dungeon, a place that builds to an epic conclusion. The final set piece alone is far more impactful than a lot of things in the game. It hints at a future we might have seen, but instead of feeling disappointment at what was lost, it was joy at having a taste of what could have been. A feeling that I feel resonates with a lot of players, be them active, returning veterans, or newcomers that finally took the plunge. Going into this, I knew I wanted to do some kind of review for this update. When it was announced as the end, At least for now, I was going to make it more of a retrospective instead. However, after experiencing it, I decided it would be best to offer something more hopeful, where the point isn't to dissect quality as much as how I think it will shape thoughts of a potential Destiny 3. Because for most of its life, Destiny is a game I've greatly enjoyed, one where I had a lot of great experiences, so if you're on the fence, I'd say to download it and see what happens. It might not fit every criticism, like the new player experience is terrible, though it really shows why so many people stuck with this game throughout the best and worst of times. And with that in mind, instead of doing a traditional conclusion, I thought it would be best to include my favorite memory, something I also encourage anyone watching to share as well. For me, it was beating Val on contest mode. It wasn't my first day one, nor would I say it was my hardest, rather, it marked a special moment for me. At the time, I recently returned to Destiny 2. I was missing a bunch of weapons and mods. Still, I knew I wanted to try, since day ones were my favorite part of the game. Through perseverance, I managed to get to Ralt. However, most teams I played with struggled at this fight. Eventually, I found a clan that simply needed assists. I joined, and after some close calls, we came out victorious. They wanted to do a clan photo, but immediately insisted that I join in. It was a small kindness that reminded me of what I enjoyed most about Destiny. They said I could add them, which I did, though for a while nothing happened. Over the years, I went on to help each and every one of them overcome their own challenges. It was something minor, but it meant a lot, to the point where I almost never took off that emblem because it reminded me of that time. One that I legitimately hope will continue at some point in the future. Hey, thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to leave a like, and for more content, please subscribe.